My humble obeisances. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas, welcoming all of you to early morning Bhakti Sangha conference call. Before we move on to the next part of the session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class, I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy name, which are to be avoided. One, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the name of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or to be independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Third, to disobey the order of the spiritual master. Four, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. Five, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Six, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activity Karma Kanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10, to not have a complete faith in chanting of the holy name and maintaining tend to not have a complete faith in chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Before we move on to Srimad Bhagavatam class, may I know who all joined this morning?
हरे कृष्ण विनीतम गंधर्विका माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Preeti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your recitation. Welcome to the call.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sanita Ramya from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Ramya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your recitation every day. And all glories to your services. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjri Leela Devidasi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari Leela Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your recitation. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna. You were in sister's place last day,
Last
Mataji,
week.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Mataji.
Today you are saying your place.
I'm back, yes.
Okay,
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
Nice, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. This is Sundarangi Radha Devidasi from Canada. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Sundarangi Radha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your recitation, and all glories to your services. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. This is Radha Pyari Devidasi from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Radha Pyari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your recitation. Welcome to the call. And also, we would like to hear from you also about Komadiki Mataji. Mataji, please.
Yes, Mataji, today I will
Today you will speak. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
definitely. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your recitation every day. Welcome to the call. Yeah, Prabhuji already joined. We'll start recording. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 15th chapter, 37th verse. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Prabhuji. Thank you for giving your valuable time and association this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna, so Very grateful to all the devotees for this opportunity to serve. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी भाष्यात्यदेशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So thank you for this opportunity to serve. Today we are discussing from 7th canto, 15th chapter, entitled Instructions for Civilized Human Beings, verse number 37. Yaisvadeha smritonatma martyo vitkrimi bhasmavit taenam atmasat kritva shlagyanti asattama. Translation. Sannyasis who first consider that the body is subject to death when it will be transformed into stool, worms, or ashes, but who again give importance to the body and glorify it as the self, are considered the greatest rascals. Purport. A sannyasi is one who has clearly understood through advancement in knowledge that Brahman, he, the person himself, is the soul, not the body. One who has this understanding may take sannyas, for he is situated in the Aham Brahmasmi position. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Such a person who no longer laments or hankers to maintain his body and who can accept all living entities as spirit souls can then enter into devotional service of the Lord. If one does not enter the devotional service of the Lord, but artificially considers himself Brahman or Narayan, not perfectly understanding that the soul and body are different, one certainly falls down. Pathanti adhaha. Such a person again gives importance to the body. There are many sannyasis in India who stress the importance of the body. Some of them give special importance to the body of the poor man, accepting him as Daridra Narayan, as if Narayan had a material body. Many other sannyasis stress the importance of the social position of the body as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. Such sannyasis are considered the greatest rascals, asattamaha. They are shameless because they have not yet understood the difference between the body and the soul, and instead have accepted the body of a Brahmana to be a Brahman. Brahmanism, Brahmanya, consists of the knowledge of Brahman, but actually the body of a Brahmana is not Brahman. Similarly, the body is neither rich nor poor. If the body of a poor man were Daridra Narayan, this would mean that the body of a rich man, on the contrary, must be Dhani Narayan. Therefore, sannyasis who do not know the meaning of Narayan, those who disregard the body as Brahman or as those who regard the body as Brahman or as Narayan, are described here as asattamaha, the most abominable rascals. Following the bodily concept of life, such sannyasis make various programs to serve the body. They conduct farcical missions consisting of so-called religious activities meant to mislead all the human society. These sannyasis have been described therein as apatrapaha and asattama, shameless and fallen from spiritual life. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing this seventh canto, and in this section, Narad Muni is explaining to Yudhishthir Maharaj the Varnashram system, the last section of this 7th canto, and especially in this 15th chapter, in the chapter entitled Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. We have heard in this chapter, Narad Muni explained the principles governing a Brahmana, and then now he is describing the principles governing a Grihastha, and then he describes, previously he described the principles governing a Grihastha. And now in this section, he is describing the principles governing sannyasi. How a householder, he gets liberated. And in the previous verses, Narad Muni has described, ultimately, one has to give up the family life and he should practice the renunciation, follow all this Ashtanga yoga process, yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharan, dhyana, samadhi. All these things are mentioned. In Kali Yuga, it is so very impossible, practically unimaginable to even accept these things. How can one give up the family life? How can one go to forest? Of course, there are no forests remaining. Where will they go? No training is given for a person to survive in the forest. So when we hear such descriptions in Bhagavatam and other scriptures, we should always understand that we should take the essence and the mood behind these instructions. These instructions basically mean that we should detach ourselves from the material conditionings, from our surroundings, from our desires. Externally, we may continue to live in the household life, but internally, one should start cultivating this principle of detachment. That is very, very important in the path of bhakti, and for that matter, in any path of spiritual life. Otherwise, it will not happen that automatically someday we will become renounced and detached from the world. This world is so very dangerous as it is described. This world is like forest fire, samsara davanala. It is like forest fire. And a person who is in this forest fire can't understand how to come out of it. Few weeks back, we have seen massive forest fire destroying a major part of one of the greatest cities in the world. So the forest fires, they cannot be extinguished by fire brigade or any human endeavor. It can be extinguished only when there is a rain. And in Kali Yuga, this rain comes when somebody receives the mercy of the Lord through the spiritual master. And as Narad Muni is describing in this verse, the principle of sannyas, even if somebody takes to renounced order of life, if that person doesn't receive the mercy of a devotee of the Lord, he may get misled. And that is what Narad Muni is describing in this verse. A person who has given up all the attachment to this world, sannyas, he has understood that I am not this body, I am soul. That is the beginning of the spiritual life. That is the beginning of the understanding. And this person, he has understood that, okay, I'm not this body, I'm soul. And as Narad Muni says in this verse, this sannyasi, he considers, he understands that the body will become either stool or worms or ashes. How the body becomes worm or stool or ashes? If the body is burned, it becomes ash. If the body is just thrown away, it's like some people, they just throw the body in the forest. The animals come and eat it, and then it becomes stool of the animals. And sometimes the body is buried in the ground, and the body becomes worms. The worms eat and the worms increase. So this sannyasi, this renunciant, this person who is practicing spiritual life, he has understood that this body actually will be either becoming stool, worm, or ashes, but still the tendency to become controller, the tendency to enjoy this world is so very strong. Ultimately, he lands up thinking that I can become God. And Srila Prabhupada, he calls that this is the last snare of Maya. It is so very dangerous. A person who is giving up all the attachments, all the illusions of the world, and still getting entangled in the biggest illusion. The illusion of this world is not so easy to give up. Shukdev Goswami mentions in second canto, Atmamayamrite rajan parasyanu bhavatmanaha na gatetartha sambandha swapna drashto evanjasa. Actually, there is no relation between the body and the soul. Parikshit Maharaj asked the question, how can there is a relation? How can the relation between the body and the soul be established? Soul is spiritual, the body is material. Shukdev Goswami says actually there is no relation. It is just like a person who is dreaming. Swapna drashtur ivanjasa. There is no relation between the soul and the material body. But because the desire to enjoy is so very strong, the material conditioning is so very strong, one cannot give up this conception that I am not this body. This is so very difficult to give up this conception. I'm this body. Because people think I'm this body only. And Srila Prabhupada went to America and he was giving a class. In the beginning days, he would speak, you are not this body, you are soul. So the audience were thinking, maybe he is not his body, I'm my body only. This principle of we are not this body but soul, it is so very rare. So this conditioning, it is so thick, so deeply rooted. Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, Ichha dvesh kam dukkham sanghatas chetana dhriti etat kshetra samasena savikaram udaritam. The transformations which we see as desire, hatred, happiness, distress, actually, if we analyze who is experiencing these emotions, somebody will say, well, I am experiencing these emotions. The soul experiences these emotions. But Krishna says, Etat Kshetra Samasena Savikara. This is a transformation of the field, transformation of the body. How is it that this is a transformation of the body? Because actually everything is happening with all the things are happening in relation to the body only. But I am thinking that this is my body. That's why I'm suffering. Gradually, practicing this spiritual life, this personality, she has actually understood, as Srila Prabhupada writes. A sannyasi is one who has clearly understood that he is not the body. He has this understanding, I am not this body, I am soul. But if a person is misled by the desire to lord it over the material nature, one will think, well, I am not this body, I am soul, and maybe I am the supreme soul, because scriptures say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. But he forgets that there is a supreme Brahman also. A person is situated on the level of Brahman. He never laments and never desires anything material. But Srila Prabhupada describes these people, although they think that they are liberated, आरुह्य कृच्छ्रेण परं पदं तथा पतन्त्यधनादृतयुष्मदङ्घ्रयः. This is a prayer by Brahmaji. Brahmaji is telling these people, they are Arvindaksha, Vimukta, they have turned their face away from Krishna. They have Avishuddha Buddhi, they have contaminated consciousness. What is their contamination? They are thinking that I am the Lord. I can become controller. Avishuddha Buddhi. Arubhya Krichrena Param Padam, although they think that they are liberated, they fall down. They fall down to the lowest of their destinations. Prabhupada writes that in the purport, Patanti Adha. Because the desire to lord it over is so strong and so powerful. Unless one comes to this understanding that I have to serve Krishna, this understanding is so very rare. The desire to serve the Lord, it is a rare desire. After traveling through millions of species, by some good fortune, a living entity comes to this understanding. It is not so common understanding. It may have taken us lifetimes or maybe millions of lives to come to this understanding that I am supposed to serve Krishna. Because in millions of lives, we were trying to enjoy and trying to lord it over, thinking that this will give me happiness, that will give me happiness. But somehow in this life, by the mercy of devotees, by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have come to this understanding. Jivera Swarup Hoye Krishnera Nityadas. This understanding, it is the rarest of the rare understanding. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is coming. Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Kota nidra jao maya pishachira kole. This entire material world is described as a daydream. There is a night dream and there is a daydream. In the night, people dream, and if they see some nightmare, a person is being chased by a tiger. He's running, shouting, screaming, sweating. What he has to, what one can do to save and rescue this person? Just wake him up. That's it. Similarly, in this world, in this material world, people are really suffering, being chased by the fears of this world. And we are shouting, screaming, help me. But this dream of I am this body and things related to this body are mine, it is such a strong, deep dream. Maya Devi doesn't allow us to wake up. That's why we continue suffering. That's why the suffering of the living entity continues in this material world, life after life. Even if somebody gets to the position of sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada writes, he would always speak, many times he would speak this principle of Daridra Narayan. Oh, some people say, oh, why are you giving to God? Just give to poor. They are the Daridra Narayan. So Prabhupada gives a simple example. If you are seeing the body of a poor person as Narayan and calling him as Daridra Narayan, you should call the body of a rich person as Dhani Narayan. Oh, that they will not accept. So that's how the philosophy is so very distorted. To come to right philosophy, it is really rare. That's why spiritual life begins with little faith, and with that faith, we associate with devotees. And when we come in association of devotees, we learn to do our sadhana, Adho Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya. In the practice of our Bhajan Kriya, one most important thing is study of scriptures, Swadhyaya, understanding the Siddhanta. Siddhant बोलिया जीव चित्ते ना करो आलस इहा होते कृष्ण लागी सुदृढ़ मानस. We should not be lazy in understanding the philosophy, because this makes our determination very strong to practice bhakti. Many times some of the devotees feel, well, why to hear so much of philosophy? I like Krishna, I like to practice bhakti, just tell me some stories about Krishna. These devotees are called as good weather devotees. You know what is a good weather devotee? When things are all good, they'll be devotees. They'll practice, they'll chant, they will come to temple, they'll do seva. As soon as problems come in their life, some crisis comes, they will start doubting this process. And they'll give up this process of Krishna consciousness. They are called as good weather devotees. Because they never understood the principle of Krishna consciousness. They never understood the philosophy properly. Somebody comes and says something and they get bewildered. Some calamity comes in the life, they get confused and bewildered. They start questioning, they start blaming. এই লীলামৃত বিনে খাए আদি अन्न पाने तबे भक्तेरा दुर्बल जीवन यार एक बिंदु पाने उत्फुल्लित तनु मने हंसे गाए करो ए नर्तने. Kaviraj Goswami says, ei lila amrit, if somebody is not drinking this lila amrit, that means the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Ei lila amrit bine khai adi anna pani, and he is taking prasad nicely every day 3 times. What will happen? Tabe bhaktera durbala jivan, the devotee will become weak, not physically but spiritually. But if somebody reads this every day, regularly, even a little bit, he'll be happy and enlivened in Krishna consciousness. He'll become a steady devotee. Will not be a good weather devotee. When things are good, I'm practicing, and when things are wrong, okay, I'm thinking why I'm doing this. Who brought me to Krishna consciousness? Already there were so many problems. After coming to Krishna consciousness, it seems that problems have increased. No. It seems my anarthas have increased. Krishna will test us for sure. Last time also we were discussing, we'll be tested. We'll be tested for our understanding of philosophy. We will be tested of our eagerness to hear Hari Katha. We'll be tested for our loyalty towards the process of devotional service. It is so very important. So if we are not practicing and reading Krishna conscious philosophy, then it is so very easy to get distracted. The process of purification may take many years or decades or lifetime or may lifetimes, depending on our intensity. But we should always endeavor to keep on understanding the philosophy. That makes us steady. That makes us strong in the process of Krishna consciousness. We'll not get confused when problem comes. We'll not blame our circumstances. We'll not blame Krishna. And this person is a steady devotee. Till the time we are practicing this sadhana bhakti and not yet purified, we are at a stage called as anisthit bhajan. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes that in the stage of anisthit bhajan, there are 6 levels, 6 stages a devotee goes through. The first stage, the lowest stage, is called as utsahamai. Utsahamai means the new devotee, how they are. You must have seen some new people, coming to Krishna consciousness, how they are enthusiastic. They are ready to do any service. And after a few days, they are not seen at all. Where are these devotees? I don't know where they went. They were there coming for Janmashtami and festival, and suddenly they are disappeared. Yeah, they are called Utsaha. Sometimes their Utsaha is at peak, and sometimes they are not seen at all. It is a sine wave of Utsaha. Sometimes up, sometimes down. After coming to Krishna consciousness, practicing, chanting for some time, they get purified a little bit, come to the second stage. That is called as Dhana Tarala. Now they are seen regularly, but their devotion sometimes is very concentrated and sometimes very diluted. Sometimes they will chant 16 rounds, sometimes no chanting at all. They'll be always confused. They'll be always unsteady. Ghanatarala. Utsahamai, Ghanatarala. And then after practicing for some time, this devotee comes to the next stage. Next stage is called as Vishaya Sangar. Vishaya Sangar means now this devotee is chanting regularly, but still his desire for sense gratification is not going up. He's still getting attracted to sense gratification. Any temptation comes, he falls down. Anyone comes and says, oh, let's go and see the new movie which has come up. Oh, it is a very nice movie. Or maybe we should go to this party. Oh, they are good people. They're not doing anything wrong. Or maybe we should just hang out with our old friends. These temptations he can't resist. After practicing for some time, he crosses this temptation also. Now he comes to the 4th level. And that is called as Vyudha Vikalpa. Vyudha Vikalpa means now this devotee, he is always confused how to advance in bhakti. What should I do? Should I chant my rounds in the morning or in the evening? Should I read Bhagavatam every day or morning or evening or once a week or which services should I take? Should I join Brahmacharya ashram or should I become renunciant? Or should I get married? So always confused. He doesn't know how to advance in bhakti. Slowly, by association of devotees, he comes to the next level. Now he knows how to practice, what to do. Now he's stable. He's chanting his 16 rounds regularly, following principles, associating with devotees. Now he comes to the next level, and that is called as Vyudha Vikalpa. Vyudha Vikalpa means this devotee now wants to increase his standard of bhakti. Like some of us may have thought sometime, I want to increase my practice of devotion standard. I want to chant at least 32 rounds on Ekadashi. Or I should read Bhagavatam at least 15 minutes every day. And on Sundays, I want to read for 1 hour. And then I want to memorize some of the verses also. I want to do the seva also. But that doesn't last. This devotee does it for some time and then again back to same level. He can't increase his standards of devotion. Viewed Vikalpa. After some time, this devotee is now really strongly established. He's practicing nicely. He or she is practicing nicely. very steady devotee, people are getting inspired to see him or her. Can anyone tell me? At this level of bhakti, when a devotee is really strongly established in the path of bhakti, people are taking inspiration from him. What can be the problem which can come in the life of this devotee? He is able to resist temptations, he's able to increase his standards of devotion, he's preaching also, maybe. At this level, what can be the problem this devotee may face? Any thoughts?
Pratishtha?
Okay, yes. Yeah. Thank you. He will be, so very overwhelmed by his own achievement. If he's not careful, he will get in the loop of being proud. Because he is getting so much respect in the devotee community. Everybody is looking at him and, oh, Prabhuji or Mataji, you are such a wonderful devotee. You are my inspiration. And this devotee is saying, yes, 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 yes. Thank you. He may not say like that, but internally he's thinking like this. Yeah, you have understood me. Puja, labh, pratishtha, they come. These are the anarthas which come by the practice of bhakti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in Madhurya Kadambini, there is some anartha which comes because of our previous life's sinful activities. They are called as dushkrit uttha anartha. Some anarthas, they come because of the previous life's pious activities. Sukrit uttha anartha. Dushkrit uttha anarthas are kama, krodha, lobha, moha, very strong. Sukrit uttha anarthas are the desire to enjoy the sense gratification in a pious way. There are some anarthas which come up because of our practice of devotional service in an inattentive way. They are called as aparadha uttha anartha, seva aparadha, vaishnava aparadha, nam aparadha. And there are some anarthas which come because of the practice of bhakti. Bhakti uttha anartha. And bhakti uttha anartha is the name, fame, prestige, profit, adoration, distinction, as Srila Prabhupada would tell. Kutinati pratishtha jiva himsan, puja lava pratishtha adi upashakhagan. These are the weeds which grow along with the seeds of, along with the creeper of our devotional service, along with our Bhakti Lata beach. We should be very careful. Otherwise, it is so very easy to get deviated. This path of devotional service, just like this verse describes, this sannyasi, he has given up all the desire of this world. But Maya Devi knows how to catch us. She knows us more than we know ourselves. She knows our weak points. And just like Prabhupada would say, an expert person who is doing boxing, he will hit only at the weak point of the enemy. So Maya Devi knows our weak points. The desire to lord it over material nature, and if we are not careful, will be destroyed. And the sad part is we will not even realize when we are getting deviated. That's why Brahmaji, when Lord appeared in front of him, he offered beautiful prayers and he asks for 3 benedictions, very, very essential benedictions, which everyone should ask. He says, oh my Lord, please empower me so that I can serve properly. You have given me the seva of creating this material world. Please empower me. And if the seva is done nicely, I may become proud. Please protect me from false ego. And if the seva is not done properly, I am not attentive, I may get deviated. Please save me from deviation. These 3 are very important prayers. Empowerment to serve, protection from false ego, and save us from deviation. Then one can become a steady practitioner. As Arjuna asks in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Siddhapragyasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava stitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. What is the language of this person? Ka bhasha, how does he speak? How does he talk? How does he walk? Basically, he's asking how this person, he controls his senses. This steady devotee, Siddha Pragya, how he controls his senses. How he resists the temptations of the world. Very essential to understand. This entire section of the second chapter, 55th verse to 72nd verse, it tells us how a devotee should live in this world. What all a devotee should do and what he should or she should avoid. A devotee should be like a tortoise. Kurmongani visarvashaha. Any temptation comes, one should not explore this world. We should not try to test ourselves. We should not think, maybe I should test how strong I have become, how much I can resist the temptations of the senses, sense objects. Please, we should never ever do like that. It is as if somebody is in a safari and he sees a lion sleeping in the jungle. And if he thinks, is the lion sleeping or is he dead? So let's go and slap him. So if the lion is dead, then it is okay. If he is not dead, then we'll be dead. Our senses, they are like ferocious animals. If they are sleeping, let them be asleep. Don't try to test. We should always understand the mind is so very cunning. It is described in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam about Rishabdev. There, Shukadeva Goswami describes that Rishabdev, he did not accept this mystic siddhis. He left his family and kingdom and he was wandering like a madman, practicing this Jada Yoga. And the mystic siddhis approached him. And Rishabdev didn't accept them. So the question is, Parikshit Maharaj asked a question, well, why is it that Rishabdev didn't accept the mystic siddhis? He was the avatar of the Supreme Lord himself. Now, why he neglected the mystic powers? Because for a person who is Atmaram, well, he should not be fearful of the siddhis because he could have used the siddhis for right purpose. Why he rejected them? Shukadeva Goswami says, one should never ever trust the mind. One should use everything in Krishna's service, but we should be very careful not to go beyond a certain level. This principle of Yukta Vairagya, we should be very careful. Otherwise, after some time, this Vairagya will go and Yukta will remain. Nobody should trust the mind. This mystic siddhis, they are so very attractive. And Shukadeva Goswami, he told that, well, Rishabdev, although he is the Supreme Lord himself, he wanted to show to all the devotees how they should be careful. They should never ever trust their mind till the time the mind is completely purified of all the conditionings. Otherwise, one bad sight is sufficient to destroy our consciousness. One bad impression is sufficient to destroy our consciousness. This world is full of temptations. We have got this practice of chance to practice bhakti after so many lives. We should never ever risk it. Shurasya dhara nishita duratya durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. Devotional service is like walking on a razor's edge. We should be very, very careful. Otherwise, we'll cut ourselves. When we'll start bleeding, very careful. You have to play safe. Never ever try to become over smart and overconfident that okay, I can handle all these temptations. I can see some movies and it's okay. I am now practicing Krishna consciousness since last 2-3 decades, right? I can see some of the movies only to get some information, only to see what happened in the history of our country, so that I'll use it in Krishna consciousness only. Please be careful. Because if we are not careful, we'll be cheated by Maya. As these sannyasis, they are cheated by material energy, where they start thinking that, oh, they are Daridra Narayan, or I am become God. So this path of devotional service, we should be really careful. Hold on to the lotus feet of Krishna, then only there is some hope. To the extent we imbibe our mind and consciousness in Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan, Hari Nam, we are safe. Because Vyasdev, when he saw Krishna in his meditation, it comes in the first canto, 7th chapter. Vyasdev, he saw Krishna and he saw Maya nearby. So we have to be really careful. Mayam chatad apashrayam bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihite yamale apashyat purusham purnam mayam chatad apashrayam. Vyasdev saw Krishna and Maya Devi besides him. And if we are not focusing on Krishna, we'll be knocked down by Maya. Maya Devi is just waiting. She's always testing us. We should not be averse to Maya, but we should be very careful of Maya. We are not there to be disgusted with Maya. Disgust is not good. We should be detached. Detachment is not disgust. We don't reject material energy. We use it in Krishna's service according to our capacity. Otherwise, we'll be used by material energy. Narad Muni, it comes in the 7th canto, we have heard, when all the devtas were taking away Kayadhu because she was pregnant. Narad Muni comes and tells, she is carrying a great devotee in her womb. You will not be able to kill him. All the devtas, they circumambulate Kayadhu and they go back. Narad Muni takes Kayadhu back to his ashram. And this young lady, she is staying in the ashram of Narad Muni, who is a renunciant. And she's listening to him every day. Narad Muni is teaching her. So we should understand that this cannot be imitated. Haridas Thakur, he knew that this prostitute is coming to test, to destroy my meditation, destroy my sanctity. Still, he remained there to purify that prostitute. We can't do that. We are not on that level. We have to be really careful. Otherwise, our mind will cheat us. Siddhis, so Shukdev Goswami tells us, Siddhis are so very powerful and intoxicating. The more we advance in Krishna consciousness, we spend years in Krishna consciousness, we should be really careful. We'll get lots of glorification because we have spent years in Krishna consciousness. But we know what is our level. We should never be tempted by the praises of the devotees, and we should never think, yes, we have understood it rightly. No. Popularity is so very intoxicating. One start thinking, but I am such a great person. It is not bad to become great, but when that popularity goes in the head, then there is a problem. There's no problem in becoming famous. But when that fame brings pride, then there is a problem. So therefore, in this path of bhakti, one should never ever trust the mind. Shukdev Goswami says, just like a person who has caught an animal, a hunter will never trust a captured animal. Never. Just like a person. Another example he gives, just like if a person is appointed as a servant, one should never ever trust that servant prematurely. Otherwise, this person who is not uh, pure in his consciousness, what he'll do? He will work for maybe months or maybe years, and then he'll win the trust of the owner. And when he gets the opportunity, he'll steal away everything. Similarly, a devotee should never ever trust the mind. Oh, I have not experienced these anarthas for years now. Maybe I have gone beyond it. One should be really careful. Mind likes to show that okay, now you are becoming a wonderful devotee. There's a beautiful acronym about our mind, how our mind works. Mind magnifies the problems, M for magnifies the problems, imagines the pleasure, neglects the reality, and denies the opportunity. Always magnifies the problems. Problem is this much, and mind will magnify it. Oh, there's so much of the problem. Always imagines the pleasure, just like Ravana. When he heard Shurpaka describing the beauty of Sita, he imagined, and that was the end of Ravana. Mind should never ever trust the mind. Another example is given. Mind is like a naughty child. Small child. One time Srila Prabhupada was at the airport, and many devotees had come to see off. Prabhupada was going to another country, and one devotee couple, they had a small child, 2, 3 years old boy. And this small child, he was playing around and running here and there. And at one point of time, this child ran far. And he was happy so far. And Prabhupada looked at him and says, oh, just see how brave he is. He's leaving his parents and he's going away, looking around the world. Then, after going for some distance, this child was not able to find his parents. He looked around, became fearful, started crying. And Prabhupada say, just see, this is the condition of a living entity in this world. We also thought that we will enjoy separately from Krishna. We wanted to explore this world. And now we are crying. So mind is like the small child, can't contemplate on the consequences. What will happen? And when the misery comes, then one starts crying. So it is so very important to understand and be careful. Mind is really very, very naughty, very adamant, like a child. If you tell a child not to do something, the child will do the same thing. And always, the mind wants always more and more and more. So we have to be really careful and observe the movements of our mind, how our mind works. For a period of years and decades, a devotee should learn to see the movements of the mind, how my mind works, how my mind takes me into wrong things, how my mind gets disturbed. Ultimately, we have to understand all these things. We can't afford to get, allured and confused, because when the mind is attracted to something, it takes away lots of our time, consciousness, energy. We can't focus on Krishna. As soon as we realize the mind is going away, catch it. In the path of bhakti, that is our treasure, our consciousness. Our consciousness should not be allowed to go anywhere and everywhere. Because we have limited time in this world. And if we are not careful, mind will take us to the lowest of the destinations. All of us have experienced this. Mind can take us immediately to the lowest of the destinations. From the highest to the lowest, it doesn't take much time for the mind. So we have to be really careful. Try to put more of the Krishna conscious impressions on the mind. Mind is like a blotting paper. Now you put an ink pen on the blotting paper, the ink will just spread and expand. We put some material things in our mind will expand it. And the more we put spiritual things, gradually the mind will expand that also, but it will take some time. Because we are not used to doing these things. Nivritta tarishay rupagiyamana bhavaushadha shrotra manobhirama kaha uttama shloka gunanuvada puman virajyeta vina pashugna. Parikshit Maharaj is saying, "O Shukadeva Goswami, please keep on reciting the glories of Krishna. Don't think I'm hungry and thirsty. A person who has given up all the desires of this world, Nivritta Tarshai, Upagiyamana Bhavaushadha, this holy name, the name, form, pastimes of Krishna, they are like the Aushadhi for this Bhavaroga. Shrotra Mano Abhirama. They are the only things which can satisfy the mind and the ears. Nothing else in this world can satisfy the mind. Mind never gets satisfied by anything. And the rule of Maya Devi is only to tell us that you give this much to the mind and mind will be satisfied. Just see this, just hear this. In a devotee community, even if somebody is really experienced and seasoned devotee, one should be careful not to put so many different impressions in the mind. Some devotees, they feel, now I should start reading what others are writing. I should be aware of what other people are writing, what other spiritual groups are writing. Be very careful. I should now see what all things people are doing in the material world, so that I can understand how fallen they are. Please never do it. Because even if nothing happens, something happens. We may think that, well, nothing will happen. I am very pakka seasoned devotee. No, never ever trust the mind. Because one mistake can cost our devotional service. And it doesn't happen so quickly. All the impressions, they keep getting stored in the mind, and at a appropriate time, that's a tipping point. When you keep on putting impressions, as they say, the last straw that broke the camel's back. And we will be thinking, well, nothing is happening to me. I'm okay handling all these emotions, all these impressions, all these things of the world I am seeing, the news and the movies, and no, everything has a cost. We are putting impressions in due course of time. Everything will come. So Shukadeva Goswami says the restless mind can cheat at any moment. Na kuryat karechit sakhyam manasihi anavastite yadvishrambhachiram chirnam chaskandat tapa ishwaram. Na kuryat karechit sakhyam, never make friends with the unsteady mind. Never. Anavastite, unsteady mind, never make friends. Because Skanda, Lord Shiva, he also got distracted by Mohini Murti. Shaubari Muni was doing tapasya for thousands of years. He also got distracted. So we should be really careful. We should learn to do some austerity of the mind. What is austerity of the mind? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manah prasada saumyatvam स्थैर्यमात्म विनिग्रहः भाव संशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपोमान समुच्यते. Manah prasad, satisfaction is like a gold. Satisfied mind, it is a treasure. Manah prasad, satisfied mind. Saumyatvam means simplicity. If the mind is always, if we are speaking lies, then how can the mind be peaceful? That's why Srila Prabhupada would always say, be simple. Simplicity is very important. Be simple in your behavior. Be simple in your speech. What is the difference between Mahatma and Duratma? Duratma means Manasyatha, Vachasyatha, Karmasyatha sa Duratmana. He will think something else, speak differently, and act in a different way completely. And who is a Mahatma? Manasyekam, Vachasyekam, Karmasyekam sa Mahatmana. His thoughts, his words, and his actions, they'll be in line. Saumyatvam. Manaprasada saumyatvam. Maunam. Mauna means gravity of our thoughts. Most of the problems start when we talk too much. And the Prabhupada would always say how a devotee should be very, very careful about prajalpa. And in 21st century, in social media times, there is no dearth of prajalpa. Everything is accessible to everyone. Problem is, even if we have nothing to do with a topic, still we get that information. So we have to be really alert. What to speak, what not to speak. Atma vinigraha, sense control, bhavasham should be. So that's how, if we are not careful, then we'll be distracted. It's like the sannyasis are described in this verse. Their mind cheats them. They start thinking, we are also God. Daridra Narayan. Oh, I am also Narayan, you are also Narayan. This whole philosophy of Mayavad then comes in. Because that is the desire of every living entity. So we should understand this process of Krishna consciousness which we have received. It is really a rare treasure. We should protect it and we should increase our wealth by absorbing more and more the principles and philosophy and the pastimes of Krishna. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions anybody has?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a beautiful class. So many examples how mind will trick us and how Maya will encourage us. Just 1 minute, just 5 minutes. Wow. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Very grateful to you. We have one raised hand. Anita Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So this was very practical class where I was each and every word you were saying that I can relate to myself. That it's happening actually. Whatever you said about the mind and the Maya was really, really very true. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this practical class. Hare Krishna. I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita Mataji. Sindhura Rao Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. Very beautiful class, Prabhu. I think when you were talking in the context of Rishabh Dev, where he did not accept the siddhis also which came, you later on said about renunciation and yukta vairagya. You made a statement which I did not get that, maybe I did not understand that, Prabhu. You said renunciation will go away and only yukta will remain. What does that mean, Prabhu?
Thank you. Heard really attentively. Yukta will remain means the desire to enjoy will remain and renunciation will go away, vairagya will go away. You know, this principle of yukta vairagya means I will engage everything in Krishna's service. So, for example, if somebody is accountant in the temple and he is dealing with all the money, he's using it in building the temple and so many other projects. In due course of time, if he needs some money, he will think, well, I can take some money and then later I'll return it. It is temple's money, but I'll return it after some time and I don't need to tell anyone. So that's how mind starts cheating, tricking. He starts using the money for his own purpose. So earlier he was using everything for Krishna's service. Vairagya was there, but now Yukta has come up. So that's how one has to be really careful. If we are using the resources in Krishna's service, we should be really careful. We should use minimum for our sustenance. Otherwise, in the name of serving the Lord properly, we may start serving ourselves more. And that has happened in our society. When somebody is not careful, they start using the resources for their own sense gratification, for their own personal, to fulfill their own personal desires. So that is called as yukta.
Okay, Prabhuji, it makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much for explaining that, Prabhu. Please give your association in the future a very beautiful class. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for listening very attentively. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji, for that answer. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, any more questions, any realizations? Please go ahead. I have chat messages. Is there any question? Okay, no question, but realizations here. And also, after this class, we are continuing. Okay, we are continuing with our offerings to Komadiki Mataji. Yeah, if there are no more questions, we can end the call here. But I mean, we are offering our obeisances to Prabhuji. After Prabhuji leaves, we'll continue our memories, sweet memories with Komadiki Mataji. Vancha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhubhyeva patitavam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Devotee Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhuji
Gaur
ki
Vilas Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
राधे राधे राधे
Nityananda.
राधे राधे हरि हरि बोल राधे 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 राधे.
Indu Mataji, I was
Mataji,
doing
do I have to?
Yeah, different live and stop the recording and also AI summary.
Oh, okay. Can you give me a minute? I'll start it.
Yeah, sure, Mataji, sure. Or else if Preeti Mataji there, you can take over the host also.
I think she can keep the host. She's doing live, right? Is that correct?
Yes, Mataji.
She's yes, Mataji, please give me a moment. I'll be there.
Yeah, take your time, no problem.
I think Radha Pyari Mataji, you are available, right? You just said in the
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah,
So today,
okay, Mataji.
Yeah, we'll start with Radha Pyari Mataji, and then we can move ahead with, I got the written offering of Her Grace Vrinda Kumari Mataji. we can read that. And then if anyone else would like to make offerings also, please raise hand. That way we can put you in line. And then after Radha Pyari Mataji is done and Vrinda Kumari Mataji is done, we can have your offerings too for Kaumadi.